Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hello,
Yeah, hi, ma'am. Good afternoon.
good afternoon. Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. Good. For a long time, I'm taking class, right?
Yes,
After 2
ma'am.
weeks, I can
Yes,
say.
yes, ma'am.
Very
You're fine, ma'am. How are you?
fine, fine. Now I'm able to speak.
What happened, ma'am?
So I affected to dengue.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Almost platelet count down to 20,000.
Arre. Oh,
Somewhat it became some serious.
oh, oh,
After that, the platelets are taken from other people.
oh, oh. So
So,
serious it became.
uh,
He doesn't even know that. I
some,
thought you are on some work or something, summer holidays.
yeah, yeah, right.
Anyway, take care, ma'am.
Mhm.
Please be.
I'm taking care. I'm not attending the college now. I'm
Okay.
on the medical leave only.
Okay, good,
But
good.
your online classes are very crucial because of limited time.
Uh,
That's why I'm taking the class. But today and tomorrow also, I'm going to take the class.
uh,
That is.
Tomorrow also you are.
Tomorrow also I'm going to take one more class. So because I lost almost 3 weeks. And,
3 classes.
that's why I'm going to take today and tomorrow also. If possible, next week also, I'll take 2 classes.
Okay, okay. Don't worry, ma'am. We'll cope up. But take care of
Okay.
your health first.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Shall we continue?
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Yeah. So in our previous session, we discussed about inheritance. I think you remember that.
Yes.
We talked about minute. This is not set by a bus. Yeah. Now it is coming out. Right. So we talked about inheritance, right? What is meant by inheritance? Inheritance means acquiring properties from parent class. That is, I have a child class. I have a parent class. This child class acquires properties from parent class. That property is to be called as inheritance. One
Yeah.
of the object-oriented programming concept. Inheritance is
Okay.
one of the object-oriented programming concepts. We have different types of inheritances: single inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, hybrid inheritance. Like that, we discussed about various types of inheritances. Right. Now, out
Yes.
of all those different types of inheritances, single, multi-level, hierarchical, hybrid, all are possible using classes. Right. Suppose, for
Yes.
example, if I want to do single inheritance, so I can write, I can have a class A as the parent class. And if I'm using, if it is the B is the class, just by using the word extends, I can do single inheritance, right? So that
Yes.
is, I have class A, the code related to class A. I'm going to write class B. Just here I write extends A. Here I am going to write the code related to class B. So this is a simple code which shows single inheritance. A is the parent class and B is the child class. B acquires all the properties of A.
A.
This is to be called as single inheritance. So in the same way, multi-level inheritance means here I have A class, here I have B class, here I have C class. So here how I can write multi-level inheritance is there. That is, C acquires properties from B and A. B acquires properties from A. A is the parent class, B is child of A, and C is child of B and grandchild of A. That is, in the code, how I can write? Just class A, the code related to class A, class B,
B.
how I can write?
Extend A.
A. Now, the code related to class B. In the
And
same
class
way,
C extend class B.
yeah, class C extends
Class B.
class B.
B.
Right. Now, here I can write the code related to class B, class C. Right. Like that, I can write multi-level inheritance as well. Now, in the same way, hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance means I can have class A, B, and C. That is, I can write class A, class B extends A, and class C also
Extends A.
A. Class C also extends A. That is, B and C both can acquire the properties from A. Right. This is to be called as hierarchical inheritance. Now, hybrid inheritance means combination of two or more types of inheritances is to be called as hybrid inheritance. But if I am going for multiple inheritance, that multiple inheritance is not possible with classes. It is not possible to write multiple inheritance with classes. Because what is multiple inheritance? Here A class is there, here B class is there. From both the classes, if I want to generate a child class, this is to be called as multiple inheritance. So here this is A and this is B and here this is C. How I can write code here? Class C extends, how I can write A comma B? Is it or not? From both C is extended, but I cannot, here it is having some confusion if I write like this in case of classes, right? So multiple inheritance is not possible just simply with the classes. That's why we are going for interfaces. Interfaces. So not only for getting multiple inheritance, interfaces can also be used to having abstraction, one more object-oriented programming concept. For achieving abstraction also, we can use interfaces. Right. Now, what is meant by abstraction? Abstraction means
summarization. Yeah.
Showing only the main functionality, showing only the functionality, hiding the internal details, right? Just suppose, for example, if you are going for car, for purchasing a car, I came to know that how I can drive my car, how to drive my car, that only I can know. But how the engine is arranged by moving the steering, how the wheels are rotating on the road, all those internal details I am not getting. Just how to drive, that only I am learning, right? So that type of process, just only knowing the functionality by hiding the internal details, that is to be called as abstraction. For achieving that abstraction in Java, we can use interfaces, right? So here mainly the purpose of interfaces is multiple inheritance and other one is achieving abstraction. These two are the main things, right? Now, abstraction can be achieved from interfaces. Not only from the interfaces, we can achieve abstraction by using abstract classes as well, right? Then, what is the difference between abstract classes and interfaces? That also we are going to know here in this 10th module, right? So here in this 10th module, completely we are going to know about interfaces, how to write interfaces, how to write nested interfaces, how to implement interfaces, and how to achieve multiple inheritance using interfaces, and how to achieve abstraction using interfaces, and what is the difference between interfaces and abstract classes. These things that we are going to discuss, right? Now, first coming to the interface. What is an interface? An interface in Java is a blueprint of class. Just it is a blueprint of class. The interface in Java is a mechanism which is used to achieve abstraction and multiple inheritance. Both can be achieved by using interfaces, right? Now, like a class, an interface can have methods and variables. How I can write variables and methods in class? In the same way, I can write variables and methods in interface as well. But all the methods which we are writing in the interface are by default abstract methods. By default abstract methods. That is, only method signature is present in the interface. Method implementation is not present in the interface. And also, interface contains static constants. Whatever the variables we are writing in the interface, all those are by default static constants. And interface shows easier relationship. It shows always easier relationship, right? Now, we are going to see what is the syntax that we need to write, that we need to follow for writing the interfaces. And one more thing, that you need to see the relationship between classes and interfaces. Now, we already know that if you take two classes, one class extends other class, right? If you take a class and an interface, obviously class always implements interface. Class always implements interface. And if you take two interfaces, an interface extends other interface, right? So if you take two classes or two interfaces, just we can write the inheritance relationship, extends. But if you take one class and interface, always class implements the interface. So I already said you that interface always contains the abstract methods. For implementation of those methods, we need a class. Definitely, we need to write a class, right? Now, here you can see the syntax for writing an interface. Now, here the interface can be declared by using the keyword interface. Here we use the keyword interface for writing the interface, right? So, all the methods what we are writing in an interface are abstract methods. All the variables that we are writing in a interface are static and final. So here, this is the syntax that what we need to follow for writing the interface. Interface, this is the keyword. Here we write interface name, whatever the interface that I want to write, that name I can write here. And whatever the constants fields that I want to write, those constants field can be written here. And whatever the methods that I want to write, those methods can be written within the parentheses. This represents a interface. So just simply it is looking like a class, but only the difference is class may contain abstract methods and non-abstract methods. Class may contain normal variables and constants, but interface contains only abstract methods and constant variables, right? Now, here you can see an example program which shows how to write an interface, right? So here you can see I'm writing interface. Here, this is the name of my interface, which is nothing but my interface I am writing. Here I am writing two methods within this interface. One method is method 1 and other method is method 2. Both the methods are abstract methods only. That is, the implementation of these two methods is not provided here in the interface. These two are abstract methods, right? Now, where we need to provide the implementation of these two methods? for providing the implementation of these two methods, I need to have a class, right? So that's why here we are taking a class sample that always implements interface. Whatever the interface here we are taking, that interface is implemented by the class sample. Now here I'm going to write the method body. Here I have written only method signature. Now the body of that method here I am implementing. So public void, whatever the method here we have written method 1. So its implementation I am writing here. And here method 2, its implementation I am writing here. Now I am taking the main method. Now I am creating an object for the class. Whatever the class I have taken, for that class I am creating the object. Now I call the method 1 and called method 2. Right. So this is a simple program which shows writing of interfaces. Now here you can see we provided complete abstraction, 100% abstraction. So no method is explained here. All the methods are implemented in the class only, right? Here only abstract names are represented, right? That's why here we are providing 100% abstraction using this interface, right? Next, extending interfaces. So we can use extends keyword in order to extend another interface, right? That is, I can write a parent interface and I can write a child interface. Here I can write a parent interface, that is A. I can write a child interface, let us say B. Now here I can use the keyword extends, right? That is how I can write interface A and the code related to this interface. And here I am going to write interface B that always extends A, and whatever the code that is related to interface B can be written here, right? So this is a way of extending an interface. Now here you can see an example for that. So here interface, my interface 1, which contains a method, method 1. Here also you can observe that always interface contains an abstract method. Here I am going to write another interface, my interface 2, that extends my interface 1. Here it is also, my interface 2 is also having a method, method 2. Here also it is having an abstract method. By default, even though I may not mention before this method as abstract method, it is by default abstract method, right? Now here for implementing these two methods, I need to have a class. So that's why here I am writing a class that implements my interface 2. Now here I am implementing this one, my interface 2. Now here I am getting method 1, its implementation I am writing. So since my interface 2 extends my interface 1, by using this my interface 2, I can access this method also. So that's why method 1 implementation and method 2 implementation both are provided here just by implementing my interface 2, right? If I implement only my interface 1, I can implement method 1 only. Method 2 cannot be done. So if I implement my interface 2, since this extends my interface 1, I can implement both the methods since my interface 2 can get the properties of my interface 1. So that's why method 1 can also be accessed. So here method 1 implementation is written and method 2 implementation is written. Now here I have written the main method and I created an object for the class sample. And by using that object, I access both the methods, method 1 and method 2. So this is the way of extending an interface, right? Just by using this my interface 2, I can provide implementation of both the methods in the class sample, right? So this is extends, that is inheritance using interfaces. right? Now, variables in the interface. I already said you that whatever the variables we are writing or we are declaring in the interface are static and final by default. Even though we may not mention them as static or final, by default, they becomes the static and final. So that is, if I am writing int a is equal to 100 in the interface, my interface, and here I want to implement that interface in the class sample. Now here I tried to change the value of a. So, but it cannot be possible. It shows an error. So why? Because since the a variable is declared in interface, by default, it becomes a final value. It becomes a final value. Final value means it becomes a constant. Its value cannot be changed, right? So that's why it shows an error if I try to change the value of a, right? Next, multiple inheritance in Java. So I already said you that for achieving abstraction, we can use interfaces. Not only for achieving abstraction, multiple inheritance can also be obtained in Java by using interfaces only. Now here you can see that if a class implements multiple interfaces or an interface extends multiple interfaces, then we can say it has multiple inheritance. So here you can see interface, interface, class implements this interface, class implements this interface as well, right? In the same way, interface, interface, this interface extends these two interfaces. Both represents the multiple inheritance in Java. But this is not possible in case of classes. That is, I cannot write like this. This is class A, class B, class C, extends. I cannot write like this. So because with the classes, it is not possible. Multiple inheritance is not possible. With the interfaces only, it is possible, right? Now, we are going to see an example for that. So here you can see interface X, which contains a method add, interface Y, which contains a method add. Now, I have written a class sample that implements both X and Y. So X is one interface, Y is another interface. Now I am going to implement the method add, right? Here we have taken variables A, B, C. I want to find the sum of those numbers. And here I am taking the main method, and here I created a object for the class. And here I called the method with that object name. So here we did multiple inheritance by using interfaces X and Y, right? Next, nested interfaces. So what is a nested interface? An interface which is declared within other interface or class is known as nested interface. That is, suppose for example, I have an interface A. Within this interface, so here I have an interface A. Within this interface, if I am writing another interface B, if I am writing another interface B, or otherwise, I have a class A. Within this class, I'm going to write an interface B. This is also to be called as nesting of interfaces. An interface declared within another interface or within a class. That is to be called as nested interface. So here the purpose of nested interfaces are used to group related interfaces. If some related interfaces are there, for grouping those related interfaces, we can use these nested interfaces. right? The nested interface must be referred to by outer interface or class. It cannot be accessed directly. So whatever the interface present inner, that cannot be directly accessed by the outer interface or by the class. It can be accessed. So now while writing the nested interfaces, we need to remember some points. Those points are the nested interface must be public if it is declared inside the interface, but it cannot have any access modifier if it declared within a class. By default, it becomes public, right? Nested interfaces are declared as static. Nested interfaces are declared as static, right? Now we are going to see an example for nested interface. Now here you can see interface name. Within this interface, I'm going to write another interface, nested interface name. In the same way, within a class also, I can write class name. Within this class, I'm going to write nested interface. Right. So this is the representation of nested interfaces. Now here you can see the example program. So here I am writing interface showable. This is one interface which contains a method void show. Here, this is the abstract method. Even though I not represented it as abstract, it is the abstract method only. Now here I am writing another interface message, which contains a method MSG. Right. Here, first interface is having a method show. Within this interface, I'm writing another interface, which is having a method message. Now this is the nesting of interfaces. Right. Now here I am taking a class test nested interface 1 that implements showable dot message. So here you can see showable is the this is the outer interface dot inner interface name. This is the outer interface dot inner interface. Like that I need to write. Directly I cannot write implements message. So I can write directly implements showable. If I want to access the inner interface, I can write showable dot message, but directly I cannot write message. Now here I am going to implement message method, and here I have written main method, and here showable dot message. For that I am creating an object. So upcasting here, we are doing upcasting here, and we are calling the with the object name, we are calling the method. The object name, we are calling the method, right? So this is one example for nested interface, and another one more example for nested interface. Here I am going to show. So here I have class A. Within this class, I am writing an interface which contains a method message. Now here I am writing nested interface 2 that implements. How I can write implements? Directly I cannot write message. So how I can write outer class is there, outer class name dot interface name, nested interface name, a dot message. Now the message method is implemented, and here I have written the main method, and here I created an object. With that object we are calling the method. So this is an example for how nested interface can be written within a class. Okay, earlier is how nested interface can be written within a interface. So this is an example for nested interface, that is an interface which is written within another interface. Here this is an example for nested interface which is written within a class. Right. Now here I am going to see the differences of abstract classes and interfaces. So here what is the difference between abstract class and interface? So abstract class can have abstract and non-abstract methods. That is, some methods may be abstract methods, some methods may be non-abstract methods, but an abstract class should have at least one abstract method. Right. Now, interface can have only abstract methods. Non-abstract methods will not be present in interface, and it can have default and static methods also. By default, its methods are static methods. Abstract class doesn't support multiple inheritance, but interface supports multiple inheritance. Abstract class can have final, non-final, static, non-static, all variables. But interface has only static and final variables. Abstract class can provide the implementation of interface, but interface cannot provide the implementation of abstract class. And the abstract keyword is used for writing the abstract class. Interface keyword is used for writing the interface. So an abstract class can extend another Java class and implement multiple Java interfaces. An interface can extend another Java interface only, but it cannot extend a class. An interface can extend only an interface, right? An abstract class can be extended using keywords extends. Interface can be implemented using the keyword implements. Using the keyword implements. So this gives the differences of abstract class and interface. Now here, one more thing that I want to tell you is, so in case of abstract classes, we can achieve abstraction. We can achieve abstraction, that is one of the object-oriented programming concept, from 0 to 100% abstraction I can achieve. But here always I can achieve 100% abstraction. Why? Because in case of abstract classes, some may be abstract methods, some may be non-abstract methods. Suppose if all the methods are non-abstract methods in case of abstract class, then we achieve 0% of abstraction. If all the methods are abstract methods, we achieve 100% abstraction here. So between that 0 to 100%, any percentage. Suppose, for example, my abstract class contains totally 10 methods. Out of those 10 methods, 5 methods are abstract methods, 5 methods are non-abstract methods. Then we are achieving here 50% of abstraction. That is, half of the methods are abstract. So 50% of abstraction we are achieving, right? So using abstract classes, I can achieve abstraction from 0 to 100%. But in case of interfaces, always we can achieve abstraction 100%. 100% abstraction can be achieved, right? So, and now I want to show you an example for that, an example program, how interfaces can be executed. That I want to show you. Here I'm going to open you online compiler. So for implementing these right, I hope that now I'm going to share you that. Right, so I hope that it is visible. My screen, which gives the online compiler.
Yes, ma'am.
That is visible. So I'm going to show you so how these interfaces can be executed. Right. Right. See here, I have written an interface, my interface, which contains the two methods, method 1 and method 2. Those can be implemented in the class sample, right? Just I want to run the program. Now see how it can be run. Now here you can see implementation of method 1, implementation of method 2. Both are printed. This is the implementation I written, right? Now here you can see I'm going to change something about these values. Now here I'm going to write int a is equal to 100, right? Suppose if I try to write method body here, is it supports or not? Just check. So here I'm going to write method body here itself. So here, method 1 body I have written here, right? Now see what happens. So see here, you can see an error. Interface abstract methods cannot have body.
Yes.
Here you can see, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here we cannot write the method body. Definitely method header should be written here. That is abstract. By default, even though I not represented it as abstract, here I not mentioned it as abstract. Even though I not mentioned it as abstract, it is by default abstract.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
Now what I am going to do is, another thing that I want to do is, so I want to change the value of A. Now I want to try to print its value. Now I'm going to run the program. See what happens. See here you can see, cannot assign a value to final variable A. I already said you that. Even
Yes.
though I not mentioned A as final, if I declared the variable in interface, it obviously becomes a static and final variable. Its value cannot be changed. Here, I already given some value to A. I tried to change its value. So it's not accepting to change that value, right? Now, without
Yes.
changing this value, I'll try to print. What happens? Let us see. Yeah, it printed its value. See?
Oh, yeah.
100 printed and method 2 implementation printed. Right?
Yeah. Correct.
Do you understand
Yes, ma'am.
how interface works?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, right. So this is about interfaces. So I hope that you understand everything about interfaces. Do you want
Correct.
anything?
No, ma'am. It's clear. Clear.
Right. So I want to stop sharing this one. If you have any doubts, let me know. We'll discuss those. Otherwise, we will wind up the session.
We can. It's only half an hour, ma'am.
Yeah, it's only half an hour. That is this unit is a very small unit. Interfaces means
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
is a very
No.
small unit. Can we see one more example execution?
Yeah, better, ma'am. And it's like class versus interface. You have
Interface.
given.
That example we can see, right?
Yeah.
So we can see how multiple inheritance can be done. That we will see, right? So I will try to how multiple inheritance can be achieved using
In
interfaces.
this chapter, only the differences we may get, ma'am.
What the
Between
differences?
interface and this class.
Abstract class.
Abstract class.
Yeah. Main thing is how interfaces can be used for multiple inheritance. That only we are explaining here.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So here you can see, I have a class, right?
Yes.
So within this class, we have written an interface. That is, we are doing nesting of interface, right? Here I have a method. Now here I have taken class that implements a dot message. Here A is the class, outer class, message is the inner interface. Inner interface can't be directly accessed. Suppose, now let us see how it will be executed. Then we can see. Here it is showing one error. Class interface or expected. 1 minute. So here one thing is there. Something is missing. Now see here main method not found in class A. Right, here I have written that main method. First I need to write this main method class. Then I need to write this class, right? See here, hello nested interface, right?
Correct.
Now here what I am going to do change is, here I have the class. Within this class, I have an interface, right?
Yes.
Without using outer class name, I'll try to implement the inner interface.
I think it will throw a message, an error
It will
message.
throw an error. That is, you can see.
Error message. Yeah.
Error message, right?
Yeah.
So definitely for accessing the interface, I need to have the outer class name. This is the thing, right?
Yes.
In the same way, suppose for example, here I have interface A. Within this interface, I have written another interface, right?
Then also it will run.
Yeah.
Interface to interface also will run. There is no error.
Yeah. Hello,
Yes.
interface. See?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So this is of nesting of interfaces, right?
Correct.
Now
Yeah.
we will see one more example which shows multiple inheritance. Implements interface, extending interfaces. Variable. Yeah. Now we are going to see how multiple inheritance can be possible. Now here you can see, this is one interface, this is other interface. Two interfaces I have written. Two interfaces are having a method add. Now here I have a class sample. This implements both the interfaces X and Y. Right. Now I have written the implementation of that method and I have called that method. Now here you can see what happens.
Yes.
30. It's shown an output of 30. That is A plus B plus C. All the three values are added.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now suppose for example, this is having add one method. This is having add two method. Right? Now here I want to write add one method here.
And add two method. Plus add two.
Second method also I want to write add two method. Now here I'm going to change these values. Just simply I want to know the difference of result. That's why I'm changing those values. Now here I'm calling add one method. I'm going to call both add two method also I want to call. Right. Now what happens? Let us see. See 30 and 70. Both are printed, right? Yeah. This is the first method, add one method. This is add two method. Both methods are called. Now this class implements both the interfaces. Correct. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So anything that you want to see more?
No, similarly, we can do multiplication, subtraction.
Yeah.
That we need to practice. That's all.
Any logic can be implemented similarly. All logics, whatever the logics that I want to write, all those logics can be implemented there. Right. In the same way, I can write. So here you can see extends also I can write extends X. Right. In this case, if I write Y, if I write just simply Y, I can access both. Yeah. Here you can see 30, 70, and both. Correct. So just with Y only, I implemented only Y. But Y extends X. That is Y acquiring all the properties of X. So that's why add method from X, add one method from X can be accessed by Y. So this contains add two method. Both the methods can be implemented here just by implementing Y only. No need of implementing X here. Right? Yes. Yeah. This is about the interfaces. Anything you want to know?
No, ma'am, very clear, but we need to practice.
Yeah, you need to do practice. Then only you can get all the details clearly, right?
Correct. So when is our next class? Today or tomorrow?
Tomorrow 2 to 3, I think so. Same timings.
Okay, fine.
So next class, we will talk about packages.
Okay.
So how the packages can be executed, all those things that we will see in the next class, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care, ma'am. Take care.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Bye.